Over the weekend, Emiru went live and levied allegations against her ex-boyfriend and popular content creator Mizkif, claiming all sorts of things against him, such as domestic abuse, emotional manipulation, SA, and more. She mentions multiple stories across their multi-year relationship, such as a time where Mizkif drove 150 miles per hour on the highway after he didn't get featured in a Mr. Beast video, with Emmy in the car, claiming that now both of them will die. She also showed multiple text messages of Mizkif begging for her back after their breakup and months after they went to no contact, saying he was wrong and he still loved her. There's a whole bunch to get into, so let's just start. Welcome to the internet versus Emiru's Mizkif allegations. It starts when Pioneer tweets out this clip with the caption, "Emiru just accused Mizkif of assault, domestic abuse, blackmail, and worse."
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I've attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself, but like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done.
And Reed replies, "Didn't Mizkif cover up SA a few years back, or am I crazy?" Extract says, "Who would have thought a group that had Mizkif, Tectone, and Asmon were normal?" Over on r/livestream fail, Aromatic U2321 also posts the clip, and the Nocturnal Angel replies, "Ludwig right now. Really? Right in front of my second public apology?" And Kona Yukine replies, "I'm out of the loop on this one. Can someone explain?" And Benito2002 says, "Lud just apologized to Miz for everything he said during the whole Miz and Train drama about the SA cover-up. It always seemed like Lud knew more than he was letting on in that situation with Cuda and Maya being close. She had probably told Cutie Miz was weird, and that's why Lud even made the vid on Miz back then. Also possible reason why Miz forgave XQC, but not Lud, because Lud knew something more was wrong with him." And Terracon replies, "Ludwig getting involved in streamer drama is the worst decision he's made in a while. There really is no benefit to him doing it. He's not some dying creator who needs the viewership boost." Steph Warner says, "It's always the ones you most suspect." And Difficult Phil replies, "Seriously. Dude has been a piece of shit since he appeared as Ice's cameraman and continually has given off sociopathic vibes his entire career. It's always amazed me that so many people seemingly couldn't see it and the arrogant smirk that is his resting expression. I assume most of his viewers were bots and children." And Set Sui replies, "Anyone involved with that crew is just fucked in some way, lol. It started an entire change in streaming." He tweets out this clip with the caption, "Emiru talks about some of the abuse she experienced."
Again, you can go see this in some of his VODs in his bedroom, the holes in the wall. There would be times where he was upset at me, and I would go to my stream room and literally lock myself in to get away from him, and he would be banging on the door and screaming at me. And at the time, he also would more often do things like going, like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like 150 miles an hour, and like one time he even said like, "Well, now we're both gonna die," like threatening to kill both of us. And this wasn't like even necessarily because of me or like because of something I did a lot of the time. Like one of the times that it happened, it was because we were just getting food and he was on his phone and he saw that Mr. Beast had put out a video, and Mr. Beast had invited another streamer, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. Beast invited this guy to his video, not me." And I was like, "Oh, well, you know, like, huh, yeah, I guess so." Which led to him going 150 miles per hour in the car and talking about killing himself while doing it. Then at home, other things would happen, like I'd be trying to sleep and he would scream at me and say that it was all my fault that he felt insecure. There was a time that I walked into a room that he was in, and as soon as he saw me there, he threw his phone at the dresser and started yelling because I had posted a YouTube video within the same couple of days as him, and mine was doing better. So basically, I felt like I was kind of stuck in a loop where I felt like I had to constantly perform and like prove my value to not be thrown away. But at the same time, if I ever performed too well, I was going to be punished for it.
DMR replies, basically high school drama with millionaire narcissists. And Ashkin replies, I don't think going 150 miles per hour saying you're going to kill you and your passengers is simple high school drama. And George Altroy replies, and none of this is real abuse, just the behavior of an asshole. I'm waiting for these serious accusations to be explained. Gosu Prime says, Amy is a very strong person to do all this while being composed. And anyone dealing with bad relationships should do the same. Good for her. But it sucks how people can be abusive in a relationship. There's no excuse for any of it. Then Cloudy Echoes posts the same clip on the livestream fail subreddit with the caption, Emiru talks about how Mizkif once drove 150 miles per hour and threatened that they were both going to die because another streamer had a collab with Mr. Beast. And Lazo Vodalazo replies to this meme saying, when your friend starts driving at 150 kilometers per hour and says, Mr. Beast didn't collab with me, and can't ban if I use this, lol says, I really hope he didn't watch today's Mr. Beast video. I'd be scared of what he'd try to do. And Giffle Baby replies, for anyone who haven't or won't watch it, the video was about saving 1,000 animals. Maya and Alvia's sanctuary were prominently featured in the video. And Dense Calligrapher says, well, that explains everything. Uneducated Reviews says, 100% Ludwig, by the way. And Joe replies, can't imagine Ludwig and Mr. Beast being the reason you decide to end it. And Pirate sometimes says, yeah, the absolute deranged ego and at the same time pathetic self-consciousness is such a double toxic existence. You'd also post this clip with the caption, Emiru alleges that Mizkif gave her a black eye one time by throwing his phone.
He would throw bottles, like plastic bottles with liquid in it, not like glass bottles, at me, despite me telling him like I didn't like it and it scared me and I bruise very easily. He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even hit me in the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah.
And Ron Mexico replies, Mizkif is a cancel culture pig that is finally getting the karma that he has rightfully earned. No one should be defending him right now. Hair Macau Zero posted this clip on the livestream fail subreddit. Mizkif DM'd Emiru stating he would, quote, end himself due to Emiru having higher views than him.
He's saying like, Emmy, you know, I'm gonna kill myself. I waited, or I'm gonna KMS. I waited so long for this, etc. Basically he was upset because I had higher viewership than him. That's literally it. I had higher viewership than him.
And Kinda Cringe My Man replies, didn't Maya also said this? That Miz hated when Maya was getting more viewers? And Dry Mongoose replies, yeah. Maya said on her alt once years ago that Miz would turn off the house Wi-Fi when her viewers surpassed his on stream. Edit, she also hinted at other weird shit he did to her and throwing things. And she had threatened to call the cops because he wouldn't let her drive away towards the end of the relationship. Like he was sitting in the driveway in her truck bed yelling at her while he was trying to get to Alvius. And S3 Rilla says, what a pathetic little man. Uneducated Reviews says, Miz either has a counter nuke or he is genuinely going to end himself. And the Pinga replies, threatening S is insanely manipulative behavior. This is wild. And Farts Like Petunias says, it's also not her problem when he threatens S. And Uneducated Reviews replies, not to split hairs, but I don't think it was necessarily threats. Dude had attempts around this time and seems unstable enough to genuinely end himself over this shit. He'd also post this clip with the caption, Emiru accuses Mizkif of SA.
And I was crying like crazy because the emotions were just very high because I was dealing with a lot of major shifts in my life as a result of me attempting to start to try to distance myself from him. So yeah, we were just talking and I was crying a lot. He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite a while, and I'm usually very uncomfortable with being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then suddenly, he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants. And I screamed. Yeah. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat, like. And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, "I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go." And he immediately left my house while I was still crying without checking if I was okay or anything. And at the time, I was still making excuses for him, and I was still afraid of causing trouble for other streamers around us, or like, you know, making things weird for viewers. I know that probably sounds crazy, but like I just felt this pressure, like I had to try to keep things together, if that makes sense.
And Scott replies, her words show consent to the kiss. She had a bad reaction to things going any farther, so he stopped. Where's the SA in this? And Sir Crypto Conrad replies, that was a small part of the big picture, like her black eye and being told he will end himself. Super Friend replies to the clip by saying, start kissing. She lets him. He initiates to something more. She says no. He immediately jumps off and feels bad. Walk away and respect her wishes. Somehow is SA. Am I missing something? He didn't R her. He didn't force her into anything. He walked away when she objected to his advances. And OK Bud replies, I don't know if I would necessarily call it SA either, but he did come on to her when she was in a really emotionally vulnerable state, which is a little slimy, IMO. And Super Friend says, I agree, but you have to realize the gravity of accusing someone of SA. You have to be careful. And Letlanius replies, you know what? When you state the sequence of events without the emotional delivery, I realize you're totally right. If this happened between normal people, it would just be an awkward moment and they wouldn't talk or go to the same parties for a while. And Super Friend says, that was the goal. That's not to excuse all the other gross and shitty things Mizkif is guilty of though. SA is just the most serious crime here with real consequences that could potentially end up with him having jail time. Everything else is just abhorrent psycho behavior. And a particularly concerned citizen says, what it is more a case of is him taking advantage of her, which is bad but isn't criminal since he stopped after she said no. It's very off to see a woman bawling and have your first thought be, let me get up in that. Mitch K replies to Superfriend by saying, he tried climbing on top. There's your answer. And Superfriend says, not really, since she objected to and he respected that immediately, then walked away. And Love Life replies, he started kissing her when she was crying. Y'all are arists. And Dr. Smegman quotes Emiru saying, I let him. And Love Life replies, yes, meaning she didn't stop him. She was sobbing, by the way. He jumped in at a weak moment and she didn't stop him until he decided to continue even farther. That's normal in shocking weirdness situations. Stop preying on weak people and people you're estranged from. Aris. Yeet also posts this clip with the caption, Emiru says that Mizkif has been indirectly threatening her for a while.
I don't want what happened to me or what has happened to other people because of him to happen to other people. And I don't believe he will ever stop behaving the way he does. But regardless, yeah, like I said, one of the main reasons I decided to do this stream is to come out about all of this because I can't hold on to it any longer because it feels wrong to do so. And an honorable mention reason for why I'm doing this is that for a while, he has been indirectly threatening me through my friends and people that I work with. They've informed me that he said that if I ever talked about anything he did, he would try to create a smear campaign against me in retaliation. I was told that he even approached other streamers who were close with us back when we lived together, asking them if they would join with him, and they all refused. At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me. Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I kill animals and that I killed my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him. I'm sure he's probably listening now, and it's probably going to come as quite a shock to him that this information made its way back to me and that I've known for months. But if you try to threaten me to stay quiet, especially using my poor dead animals, I'm not going to stay quiet. Okay.
And Repsion replies, Ms. loves covering up SA, so this is no surprise to me. Good on her for standing up for herself. I don't think she realizes how many people support her. ADHD Man posts this clip on the livestream fail subreddit with a caption, Mizkif went up to Emiru's employees at TwitchCon 2025 saying if Emiru says anything about him that he will destroy her.
Streamers who were around us a lot when we lived together and asked if they would basically back him up, and they refused. Obviously, they're not insane. And even something happened this weekend at TwitchCon. One of my employees told me he went up to them and he threatened them, saying, "If Emmy ever tries to talk about me, I will destroy her." Whatever that means. And within the same night, he also texted one of my best friends, and he would have known that I would have been with this girl. He texted her saying, "Hey, worried about her, hope she's okay." You know, right after he just said to my employee and other people that he was gonna try to destroy my life. Yeah, all in the same night. And, yeah, that was Saturday, so that pretty much leads us to today. I feel like it's clear I've spent the last year of my life cutting him off and building a new life with people that actually care about me and doing my best to move on peacefully without causing any drama. I did not want to do this.
And WeMaster14 replies, I bet Maya has some shit on him too. And Super Top Gun says, why is everybody on Twitch such trash? And WinMaster says, because they're so disconnected from the real world. Blow Bandit says, now she destroys him. Checkmate. And IESC replies with this picture of Hassan and Kaya editing Kaya as Mizkif and Hassan as Emiru. Disastrous Song posted this clip on the livestream fail subreddit. Mizkif rages over Emiru's Rust stream viewership. And unfortunately, this clip has copyrighted music, so I can't play it. For the first 30 seconds, it's just Mizkif showing up on stream, saying let's go, he's excited, showing the view count being 22,500 on his stream and Emiru having 19,000. Then as the stream goes on, they switch viewer counts. He has less than her and he starts getting upset, kind of being sad, low energy. He's getting angry at people, getting mad, and then he ends the stream early. And from there, we can't play the rest of this. There isn't music in this part. Emiru reacts to Mizkif ending the stream early, so here is the rest of that clip.
What does unofficial Mizraid mean?
Guys,
oh, he did?
Listen, why are we all acting like we haven't murdered, like we haven't pillaged, like we haven't had to do what we had to do to make it here where she had a one-hit advantage. She was coming after me. I had to attack back.
What the fuck is this?
What are you? Was that a test?
You said.
Well, I have some cloth in my house.
Let me check my body real quick. Did anyone loot me?
Yeah. Go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right
there you
back.
go.
Yeah, she's trapped now.
Fine, look what I did.
Sick, okay, sick, okay, I'm stuck in here, okay, sick.
I'm gonna make some steps.
Hello, sorry. It's like 20 minutes.
And then Long John Silver's Rayleigh replies, he actually just kept going back and forth and slamming the door because he didn't get a big enough reaction. Like actually man-child, holy. And Potato Bunner says, that shit is embarrassing. And that's only the shit we see. Imagine how bad it was off stream. And Newtown Law says, it seems BPD. I recommend anyone who is close to him to take the precautions needed to be safe until he gets a mental health diagnosis and a medication if needed. Spartan Soldier says, that insecurity is just insane. Forcing someone to go offline because they had more views than you. And Sam Squam Patches says, over 19k viewers too. The greed is just fucking insane. What a loser, Lamau. And King Fiasco replies, that's where I'm at with this. Imagine having 19,000 people watching you play games and being upset by that number. Cloudy Echoes also posted this clip on the livestream fail subreddit of Emiru pulling up a bunch of texts with the caption, Emiru shows the consistent harassment she kept facing from Mizkif after they broke up. And we're just going to go ahead and read these texts that Mizkif sent. According to Emiru, these are all after they broke up, and it starts with Mizkif saying, hey, just to make sure, you don't have recordings of me, right? I'm getting harassed that you do, and I'm assuming it's nothing. And then a few weeks later, he says, do you know why I'm removed from everything? Why I'm kicked from OTK? Nobody's answering my calls, and I don't want to bother you, but I'm panicking, and I don't understand what's happening. Then the next day, he says, can we please communicate so I don't feel isolated and hated by my own org? I just want to be okay with each other, and I feel with our streams and lives, we shouldn't have this feeling. I came home and feel terrible. It feels so odd that I cannot talk to you or anyone and just know what's happening. Then the next day, he says, can you please respond? Then 2 days later, he says, I understand and we'll just leave you alone. But I really would appreciate if we can talk. I won't text you again after this. I really do want to talk if possible. Then a week later, he says, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I can't just not message you. I still care about you. If you need to talk, I'm here. I'm so sorry shit like this happened. I'll be up all night if you need to talk. Then the next day, he says, can we please talk, Emmy? I'm so sorry for what I said. Then the next week, he says, can we talk tomorrow? Then a few days later, he says, hey, I found out you weren't invited to the party. I knew you wouldn't want to go, but I didn't do invites. You were invited, of course, and I hope you're okay, and one day we can talk. Then another few days, he says, Emmy, can we please talk? I really need to tell you things. I'm so sorry for the past few months. I'm so sorry for so much that happened. I need this time to be alone, but I really love you so much. I just needed to know what being alone, and I learned I need you. I don't want to be without you. I regret so much that I hurt you when I left, but I know I needed it. Then the posts continue here, skipping that first paragraph on the left, and it says, please, call me. I haven't stopped thinking about you in months. I know what I want, and it's you, and only you. I've been nothing but miserable without you. I love you, Emmy, and if you take me back, I want us to be a real relationship. I want us to go on dates, to live together, to plan our lives. I want so much with you. Please just hear me out. I wrote out a lot of how I feel. I've been writing so much and learned so much about myself. Just please, if you can hear me out. I love you so much, Emmy. I've been crying every night without you, and I'm sorry I've done any of this. I've been so depressed without you. Just please call me. I'll be up. I will do anything for you. I will come home from Japan right now for you. Then the next day he says, can you answer me, Emmy? Just at least tell me you moved on. Then about a month later, he reaches out again saying, hey, would you be willing to talk? And then another month he says, hey, I know it's been a while. I just want to say that I'm going back to Austin next week, and I think that you and I should at least be able to talk and communicate with each other. I'm going to be also doing a lot of collabs, and I know you've been doing a lot of collabs lately, and I feel that we should be amicable with each other, so it's not weird because we're both now doing a lot of clubs, and I feel like it would be really weird considering we're both also in the same, or that we're just not talking to each other at all and have zero communication. I want to come back and for us to at least be okay. I don't need to talk to you about anything in terms of relationship. I just want to talk to you in terms of business and also just overall collaborations. So I think we should have a conversation if you can call me sometime this week. I think that would be great. Hope you're doing well. If we can't communicate and we're going to continue to not talk, this is only going to get weirder and weirder as we're both invited to the same things constantly and we are both involved in Austin activities. It's best for both. There's also this message where he reaches out on Discord saying, can you please answer my phone? Along with these Discord messages from a few days after the last messages we read in text, where Mizkif says, I'm sorry. Not a day has gone by in these last 4 months where your final words to me, don't go, haven't echoed in my heart. I walked out your door thinking I knew what I wanted, but I was wrong. I told myself I needed to be alone, that I had missed out on being single in my 30s. I convinced myself I needed space, freedom, distance. But the truth is, I was afraid. Afraid of commitment, afraid of what it meant to truly let someone in, even someone as beautiful and kind as you. So I tried to protect myself in the worst way possible. I pushed you away. I told myself lies to justify it. I said I was bored. I said a relationship would hold me back. I said I didn't want to be with just one person. But those weren't truths. They were shields I put up to avoid facing my fears and the parts of myself I hadn't yet healed. And in doing that, I lost you. The last 4 months have been the hardest of my life. Whatever people may see on the outside, online, or anywhere else, know this. I've been lost without you. I've missed you every single day. I've cried more times than I can count just thinking about your smile. The way you say merp or make those little sounds when you were happy. I even had to unfollow you at one point. Not because I wanted to forget you, but because seeing you reminded me so painfully of how badly I messed up. I love you, Emmy. I always have, and I know now I never stopped. I know our time together was far from perfect. My mental health weighed heavily on us both, and I'm so sorry for what I put you through. You carried more than you ever should have had to, but I'm working on myself now, really working. I've started treatments. I'm on Lexapro and propranolol, and for the first time in a long time, I feel clarity. My emotions aren't running wild anymore. I think more clearly. I feel steadier. I'm learning to be the man you always believed I could be. And now that I can see things clearly, I know this without a shadow of a doubt. You are the love of my life. Every night we spent watching shows, every silly conversation about cheddar, every time I walked into your room as you were about to go live, I cherished it all. You brought color and joy into my life in ways I didn't fully appreciate until I lost you. And I hate that I let fear and pain and pride blind me to how lucky I was to have you. Emmy, if you still have any space in your heart for me, I would love to spend the rest of my life making things right. Loving you the way you've always deserved to be loved. This time, fully. I am leaving for LA, but I would make it work with you, even if we can start small. It's always been Matt and Emmy, and it still could be, if you'll have me. And then back to the LSF thread, Kappa Rapper Trapper replies by saying, get it twisted, 99% of obsessed exes give up right before they get the response they want. And Light Shelter says, almost there, just one more essay. And Jerry Freeze corrects him saying, ChatGPT prompt. Deva Frog says, Mizkif caught essaying. And 43 Eyes replies, essaying and essaying. And Greedy Anda says, getting out the Eminem lyrics. Then over on the r/OTV and Friends Rumors subreddit, Straffrey1992 posts this summary called Mizkif Domestically Abused Emiru. And most of this we've already gone over up to basically this point right here. But there's also new information like OP posting about the World of Warcraft allegation, saying OnlyFangs too. He would message her just because they're in the same class in World of Warcraft. Emiru presents message receipts. CVOD 1/1920. This happened while Emiru was live. Essentially, Emmy claiming that Mizkif would get upset because Emmy picked the same class as him in World of Warcraft, and she attaches a bunch of messages which start off with Emiru saying, "But how do I know it's not just someone who doesn't follow, lol? Yes, I'm still wanting to be DPS, but for dungeons I have to tank, yeah." And Miz replies, "You really don't, like you don't." And Emmy says, "How can I not tank in dungeons?" And Miz says, "You straight up don't have to, because you're a DPS?" And Emmy says, "My group didn't have other warriors." And Miz says, "Yeah, I know where this is going, and I'm not dealing with it. I asked for a boundary and it's always crossed. You don't know boundaries." And Emmy replies, "Huh? How can I not tank as warrior in dungeons?" And Miz says, "Because you aren't a tank." And Emmy says, "When I said I don't want to be a tank, I meant I don't want to tank and raid," which is still true because I don't know what I'm doing. And Miz says, "You do not need to tank in dungeons." And Emmy says, "So I just don't ever pull aggro?" And Miz says, "Now I'm going to get so much shit nonstop. Emmy is better. Emmy this. I can't have anything, Emmy. You just take." And Emmy says, "I don't understand what you want me to do." And Miz replies, "Not tank. Just that simple." And Emmy says, "What the fuck does that mean?" And Miz says, "You already played warrior when I told you we're going to get compared." And Emmy replies, "Don't pull. I'm going to pull aggro because I'm a warrior." And Miz replies, "No, you're not. Another warrior can tank." And Emmy says, "I didn't have another warrior in any of my groups today, and no warriors wanting to join." And Miz replies, "Girl with 27k couldn't find a warrior. You can every time. You just want to tank. I know what you're doing right now, and I'm not dealing with it." And Emmy replies, "There were no warriors asking to join, and why is it bad for me to pull in dungeons?" And Miz says, "Because now I'm going to get compared nonstop. Because now people are just going to say you're better. Because I told you this when you first told me you want to play warrior, and it's already happening. You just don't care about this stuff ever. There's no boundaries with you. Now we're the same class, same thing, tanks." And Emmy says, "Dude." And Miz says, "Don't dude me. I asked for one thing with you. Don't be a tank, and now you're tanking. What can I do?" And Emmy responds, "What the fuck am I supposed to do?" And Miz replies, "Don't tank." Yep, there it is. And Emmy says, "I'm playing the game." And Miz replies, "Tank, Emmy, do it. Let me handle all the hate, the criticism, the you're worse than Emmy's, the Emmy is so much better, the people saying you're better in every chat, the comparisons since nobody will be on my side. Let me deal with it. You have fun. I asked you to not become a tank and you didn't listen. Now it's the classic, what was I supposed to do? I'm not dealing with this." Then back over to the Reddit post that led us here, OP continues saying, after breakup, she was hopeful they'd be cordial. After finally going through so much, she finally cut ties with him. She hasn't spoke to him since January 2025 this year. And then here's all the different contact attempts which we read earlier in the video. Then OP posts about the Sysathon incident, which for context, we have covered this on the channel before. It was essentially a situation where a stalker approached Emiru, Valkyrie, and Senna on a pier, and they ran off, talked about it. We went over all of that in a previous video. But anyway, here is how OP summarizes it, saying, Mizkif talks on the Santa Monica incident on stream, and then would talk about Emiru's stalker stories that she herself kept very private about and doesn't want public on. One story where a stalker went to the house and Mizkif basically held the guy away. Turns out Bonnie was the one and called the cops. Back to the Sysathon incident, off-stream Emiru was crying. Senna and Valkyrie asked why. Mizkif kept bringing up the stalker stories that Emiru didn't want public. Asmongold, Senna, and Valkyrie all tried reaching out to Mizkif to stop, but he ignored them. He was aware of them trying to tell him to stop, but kept going until the end of the stream, essentially saying that Mizkif was just leaking various stalker stories that Emiru went through that she wanted to keep private on stream after the Santa Monica Pier incident happened. OP continues saying, Mizkif would ask streamer friends what Emiru is up to, i.e. has she slept with anyone recently. As of today, last contact was 2 months ago. Mizkif threatens Emiru that if Emiru exposed him as an abuser, he would cook up a plot that mentioned Emiru killed her rabbits. Mizkif had threatened to silence her through various avenues, directly and indirectly through friends and her employees, etc., and she files a restraining order on both Texas and California. OP continues saying, to simply put, Mizkif domestically, physically, mentally, and emotionally abused Emiru. She mentioned Mizkif has done this with other people similar to her own. She now wants to move forward from all this. Disclaimer, try to add as much details as I can. If I missed any important details or misspoke on something, apologies. Then linking the VOD saying, my 2 cents, huge weight lifted off Emiru. Brave of her and can finally move forward. Over on Twitter, Dexerto posted the news about Emiru coming out about all this, and Nuxtaku quotes the post by saying, Mizkif then, respecter of women, mass collaborator of female streamers, helps girls in a male-dominated industry, progressive values in politics, racism is bad, Mizkif, gambling is bad, Mizkif, tectone is bad, Mizkif, feminism is based, Mizkif, Mizkif now, allegations of covering up SA, allegations of SA, allegations from multiple women, allegations of stalking women, allegations of harassing women, allegations of manipulating women, every single time, and building Builder Plays Games replies, he does these things to get close to them. Male feminists are the most dangerous thing to women, as they don't see them coming. Loadmouth tweets out, finding out Mizkif is a huge piece of shit is like finding out water is wet. I have not met a single bigger streamer who wasn't incredibly cool except for him. Every interaction I had with him was always so weird. Demay tweets out, after years of being part of the Twitch community and having friends associated with Mizkif, not once did I ever hear anything good about him from his own people. It was always the weirdest, dumbest, and most egotistical stuff I'd ever heard, and everyone just dealt with it. If you're against him, he'll convince everyone around his circle to not associate with you. He'll do things in his power as a big content creator to put you in the weird position to forgive him or to stop talking bad of him. I'm glad people are finally speaking up. I hope everyone can finally move on and heal. Much love. And Bao the Whale replies, fuck that guy, holy shit. Tectone tweets out, I don't really care that people know I was right about Mizkif. Just support Emiru right now. Thanks. And Brad Matthews replies, trading Rich Campbell for Mizkif was a crazy good trade deal I never saw coming. Project Merlgen says, when it finally hits you that the entire Twitch scene is just a daycare for toxic, emotionally unstable crayon eaters cashing in bits while broadcasting their daily mental breakdowns and delusion of grandeur, it's like the 70s/80s version of morning soap operas for single moms. You'd also post this clip with the caption, Asmongold's open message to Mizkif.
Any open message to Miz? Fuck off. Have some dignity and retire. Like, I really, I mean, that's my honest, like, you know, what advice do you have? There it is. But you're really mad at him, huh? I don't even know really if that's the word to use. It's just like, it's just, I don't know.
IcePoseidon tweets out, I've always said Twitch streamers have tons of skeletons in their closet. Wait until people find out about everyone else at the top and the corruption and weirdness behind the scenes. If you thought Hollywood was bad, wait until you see more. Remember, the CEO is best friends with all these people on personal levels as well, and everyone knows everything about each other from gossip behind the scenes. So when something comes out and everyone acts surprised, it's always an act. And Gato Fumura replies, so you're admitting to knowing a bunch of horrendous, potentially criminal shit and you're just sitting there letting it continue? What a profile and courage, Lamau. And IcePoseidon says, without evidence, you get sued. But I've been very much in the know with Twitch as I was one of Twitch's biggest streamers before, and I got to see and hear a lot of weird shit before they tightened up a bit. Obviously, they still do weird shit though. And Gato says, this is the US. It's almost impossible to win a defamation suit as a public figure. Save that bullshit excuse for foggy London. Dr. Mullick replies to IcePoseidon by saying, CX coin, am I right? And Ice replies, I'm honest about what I do. That's why it's so easy to come after me. But I can promise you I'm a much better person than most of the brand-friendly streamers out there. They are not genuine and do questionable things. Also, backstabbers, most of them. FaZe Rain replies to IcePoseidon with a 100 emoji, and Lambert says, yeah, these freaks are just like a pedo Hollywood and shit. And Ice replies, VTubing a tiger diaper baby avatar on front page. No morals, no dignity. Profiting off mental illness, that's also why they don't have security at TwitchCons. Can't scare away your literal target audience. Parasocials give the most money. Eat tweets these posts with the caption, Ethan Klein reacts to the Emiru situation, and is Ethan posting two clips that we've already looked at. Ethan says, Emiru comes forward with horrific and extremely sad allegations against Mizkif. And another clip saying, poor Emiru, I feel so bad for what she's been through. You deserve better, girl. AriaSaki tweets out, one of the reasons Byron ended himself was because he was jealous of me. Mizkif 2025. I was cordial during a live stream where you asked to come over and collab, just to save you the public shame. And my plan was to ask you out to lunch for a serious talk. I have messages with Emmy approving this plan, although doubtful. It wasn't completely hopeless. I needed to see for myself since I had seen Miz as a friend too. I had known about your terrible treatment to others and wanted to know if you felt any remorse or could essentially be changed. But you went live anyways without my consent. I ended up letting you down there too, but after the stream, I offered some time for a talk to which you agree. Miz came over to my place and we talked for around 3 hours, going in circles about his mistreatment in the scene. I do my best to incite the possible path of reflection, but ultimately to no avail. The man was convinced he had done no wrong and everyone was out to get him. I gave you a chance to come clean about anything, just to see if there was any humanity left in you, and you fucked it up so hard. The one statement that broke all hope for you, not realizing I had become close to Byron. Not once during the time I talked to him every single day leading up to the tragedy had he ever mentioned your name. Once I angrily confronted you about that and showed you proof of our friendship, you quickly tried to change the subject after saying, well, he was. I've been holding on to this shit statement for some time now, waiting for the right moment when Emmy decided to come out with everything. You were a shit human, Miz. You were not the victim, but you create them. We got on the right track when you finally mentioned mood swings, but quickly after admitting that, you go back to the pity party narrative and I was honestly just done. My stubborn grandmother has shown more ability to self-reflect than you, and I've had it listening to you talk in only victim tongue. Don't ever mention Byron again to further any sick narratives of yours either. And Echo Mixon says, genuine question, why is shit like that always kept under wraps? Bro is clearly not right in the head and nothing was done until one person spoke out and then obviously the floodgates opened. And Aria replies, like you said, the floodgates. It's not an easy task to deal with so much public opinion all at once, and you can only imagine the amount of things that are currently left unsaid because of said fear. I'm an anxious person too, but ultimately feeling more relieved now that it's out. All we can hope for is the encouragement so that others can come out with their truths too. quqco also posted this on their page saying, my Mizkif essay and harassment experience. 1. Our first hookup, I was so drunk I couldn't keep my eyes open. Originally, I was supposed to crash on the couch, but somehow ended up in his bed. I remember all I wanted was to sleep, but he kept trying to kiss me and undress me. I finally let him have it because I was too dizzy to care anymore. He made sure to coach me to say that it was consensual afterwards and get the story straight because he was afraid of being cancelled. He was so sweet at that time that we ended up having a consensual fling afterwards. 2. After our fling ended, he started terrible rumors about me, telling people I was manipulative, bad, and awful human. He would tell people that I see myself during S and that I was crazy. I would hear the most awful rumors from people I had just met even years later. He would continue talking about me long after we no longer interacted. This made me never reach out to people anymore. I was mortified of the rumors he'd spread and depressed over what people thought of me. Lakari is witness to the depression Mizkif caused me. He's also witness to the harassment I experienced long after the fling was over. 3. During my relationship with Lakari, he'd regularly talk shit about me and constantly tell Lakari that he doesn't know the real quqco. He tried poisoning our relationship the whole time. He would plant ideas into Lakari's head to start fights. After the relationship with Lakari ended, Miz upped the shit talking even more. Lakari noted that it looks like Miz was actively trying to ruin my reputation. I would hear how everyone in Austin hates me because of what Miz would say. I think Emiru is super brave for coming out with her story. I struggle with posting this as I don't want to be associated with or tied to him at all, but I want to corroborate her story with my personal help Mizkif kindly gifted to me. And Morgpie replies, love you Q. This is horrible and I'm so sorry you went through this. We're here for you. Mizkif also put out a stream going over a lot of these allegations, agreeing with some things that Amy alleged, disagreeing with others. We will be putting out a video going over Miz's response tomorrow, so subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss it. But for now, shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives, Kiko, Salsao, Dakotas, Bandito, and Captain Crash Out. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.